Right, welcome back. I'm waiting for the delivery of the stuff that I've ordered online, and unfortunately I couldn't get no mixed leaves in a pot, they'd run out. So I've picked up myself one of those Green Stuff World 4 leaf punchers, and then found a tutorial on YouTube how to make leaves out of coffee filters. So I picked up some coffee filters, 40 in a box from Morrison's, I think it was about £2, and then just parted the perforations so they'll fold out, and then just got my brush. We had fish and chips for tea last night, so what I've done is I've given the fish and chips containers a quick wash out with some warm soapy water in my sink in my kitchen. And I had pie and chips, my wife had fish and chips, and then I just washed that out with some soapy water. And then I just moistened my brush and just brushed it all over with the water. You don't need to soak them, just moisten them. Turn it over, moisten the other side, and then just water down some paint in the various colours. Using my dropper, maybe 1.5 of the droppers will do. And then just mix that up in your palette, and then just brush it on. Turn it over, do the other side. And then some of the moisture with the paint will actually sit in the bottom of the chip container, and that you can just turn that and get that back in the centre to get the water to soak. And that's all it is, just that's it for coffee filters. So I've got an old oven rack that we don't use hardly, and then using the chip paper I'll put these on the window ledge and then let them dry. And we'll see what happens once they're dry, and then just use the punch. Let's see what happens. Right, so my filters are all fully dry now. So I did like a dark green, a lime green, and a brown one. This is my hole punch. It's from Green Stuff World, and you get 4 leaves. I've dried that pot out because that had some water in it, but that's dry now. So I left these a couple of hours to dry, and then they'd faded a little. So what I did is I re-dampened them down and then repainted them again, and they're not looking too bad. So I'm just going to pause this a sec. Right, so from what I can gather, there's a little slot there, and you put your piece of paper or whatever you're trying to leaf, and you just put it in like that. So let's just get my pot, just move that over a bit, and then let's see what happens. Right, so put that in there. Oh, okay. And that's what punches through that there. If I do that again, yeah, and there's some little leaves in that pot. So obviously I've got to do this about 400 million times to get what I want, but yeah, they don't look too bad. So this punch cost me $7.99. So let's see what happens once I've done this a few times. Right, a couple of hours of thumb wrenching punching after. My thumbs are really sore, to be honest. The leaves have come out really, really nice. And if you look in my bin, that's what's left of my filter paper. I've even got some packaging. You know, this type of packaging you get from like an Amazon parcel or a DPD parcel or any parcel in general. It actually punches through quite well with that paper as well, so that's someone else to consider. Right, so when I was punching these, I will admit the punch did jam up a few times. I watched some YouTube videos and it said if you punch it through tin foil and if you punch it through greaseproof paper, apparently the tin foil will sharpen the blade and the greaseproof paper will lubricate it. That's a yes and no, to be honest, because even though I did that, a couple of punches later it kept jamming up on me again. But cutting through foil, no problem at all, doesn't jam up at all. So I'm just wondering if you can buy pre-coloured tin foil, because if you could use the pre-coloured tin foil and it'll cut through that like a hot knife through butter. To be honest, I'm glad I bought this, because Wayland had run out of stock. They hadn't got no stock of the actual mixed leaves tub that I wanted from Green Stuff World, and on eBay the same pot of mixed leaves would have cost me like £9.95 plus £2 or £3 postage. So picking this up for £7.99, I can make, or you can make, as little or as much leaves as you want using any coloured paper. If you can get some of that coloured tin foil, even better. But I'm really well chuffed. I know these leaves have come out. I think this should be enough. So let's get these on the base. Right, welcome back. Now that leaves are done with the puncher, I've got my Diorama bracken fern, and it tells you what scale it is. It says you can either paint the leaves with acrylic paint or watercolour pencils. Then you get a sharp blade and cut them off the sheet, and then you can get a pair of tweezers or something to try and round and spread them out. Also, I've picked up some grass tufts from the Army Painter. These are a bit smaller than I thought they was going to be, but it doesn't matter, so I'll be spreading those around as well. Now, the sheet for the ferns is about 14 centimetres tall by about 8 centimetres wide. And I honestly thought this was going to be photo etch or very thin card. It's actually very thin paper. So what I've done is I've just painted a couple. So using my Humbrol 26 brown and my 36364 leaf green and my very fine detailing brush, which is my 5/0 brush. So I'm just dipping in the paint, very minuscule amount. You only need a tiny bit, and you just apply it. I'm hoping once the paint's dry that it'll stiffen the paper up a bit. But you can see I've just done about I've just done 6 of them. I've got to do the rest of them, and I've got to do the other side. So this is going to take some time. But I'm hoping it'll have some really good detail to it. So let's see what happens. Right, welcome back. I've now finished off the sheet. I finished it off last night. It took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do fully. And it's come out really, really nice. Not bad at all. Now, I've noticed when I need to cut these out, I'm going to have to use my scalpel. And I've been watching others cut it off the sheet on YouTube, and it looks like it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So now all I've got to do now is paint the other side. I'm going to get there in the end. Right. I'm halfway through the sheet. And that's what I've got. Very fiddly, very frustrating, very time consuming, and a pain in my big fat Bilston arse to cut these out. So I'm using my scalpel. And what I've found the easiest thing to do is get a pair of scissors, cut in between each set of leaves, and just get the little bits off, because one of the biggest leaf I left, while I was cutting it off, I left the sheet intact, And when I was cutting around the edges, the tiniest bit of corner will actually stick to the leaf, and you can get in your scalpel and you're slowly lifting it up, and one tiny, I mean, I don't know if you can make it out there. There's a tiny little tab, and there's one there as well. Let me turn the flash on, see if that'll bring it up better. Where was that? There's one there, and there's one up here somewhere, tiny little tab. So I'm just going to get my scissors and cut round the edges, and as I'm like on my mat, I'm just like cutting round the tops of the leaves, and then the corners actually come away better. But this is very frustrating and time consuming, but I'm going to get there in the end. So we'll see what happens when we cut the rest of these out. Right, welcome back. Just experimenting with the ferns. Now I've glued 2 of the big ferns to the base, so I've got one this side, let it dry, got my tweezers and bent it out slightly, tried to make the shapes and, you know, curl them round a bit. And then you've got one on this side as well, again trying to curl it round. I've got one glued to the base there, and one glued to the base on this side. Now before I put that little grass tuft in there, this was actually leaning against the pot because it kept wanting to bend backwards, and it actually stuck to the base here. I'd like on my little bits of moss and stuff, I'd sprayed on my PVA water mix and it actually got stuck, but I managed to loosen it up and bring it forward, and then just put in my pot slot. Well, it's probably a bit more forward than it would be with the grass, and then I just put that there to make sure it don't tip backwards again. So that's that done. With the fern on this side, I got a cocktail stick and I glued one long one on this side, one long one on that side with a bit of super glue, as per the instructions on the video that I saw. And then I've got 2 little ones, one this side, one that side, let them dry with the super glue and then bend them round. Then I made a little base for the cocktail stick with the milliput, and I just put that straight down, you know, smoothed out with the water, and then just dip my cocktail stick with the leaves glued to it. Obviously I've got to paint that, but yeah, the ferns don't look too bad at all. They're not bad. It's my first go with them, but yeah, they're alright, not too bad at all. Right, I can happily say that the Endor Diorama is all finished. I've done all the leaves, I've put all them on. I haven't put the bike or the trooper on yet because I want to show you what it looks like without the bike and the trooper. But I'm quite chuffed on how it's turned out actually, not too bad. So here's the final reveal. Right, so there it is, all finished. Now when I'd left you, I'd just put the ferns on the base, on the neck for the base and round the base, and a little bit with a milliput. So I painted the 26 Humboldt brown on, and then I decanted some of that camo brown spray into one of my cake pots and just painted all the way around, and it don't look too bad at all. Once that was done, I then done the Mod Podge, painted it all the way around on the base, on the floor, and then I spread my leaves out of that little green little pot, and just sprinkled them on, let them dry, turned the actual complete base on its side like you do with the grass, and knock all the loose leaves off like you do with the grass powder. And then once that was done, I then just got my PVA mix and just sprayed on top of the leaves, sprayed on top of the tufts, and then the leaves that I had left over, I just put a bit of Mod Podge on my little bit of, you know, the filter sponge to disguise the support base, and then just sprinkled the leaves on top of that. To be honest, it looks more like a Christmas tree than anything. That's just more, I'm trying to keep that back and it keeps coming forward. Sounds like a fart. I'll just get something to weight that forward a bit. There we go. And like I said, it looks like a Christmas tree, but I think it's hidden quite well. Not too bad at all. So I also did inside the fish tank half tree trunk. I just put all my podge in there. Got a butter knife with some leaves on the end and just plop them on top of the wet Mod Podge. And then again, just turning the base on its side and just got rid of all the loose leaves. But yeah, I don't think it looks too bad. I mean, them grass tufts around the trees, and the few with the moss as well, and a couple of grass tufts I put round the base of the half log, as it were. Not too bad. I mean, I used about 3/4 of the Army Painter Woodlands tufts. I didn't use all the bracken ferns. I've still got some left in the pot. But yeah, I don't think this looks too bad at all. So I'm just going to pause this a second, put the bike and the speeder on. Right, so I've put the bike and trooper on the stand now. So you get underneath there, look. It's a bit more, because I've got the paint on the actual, all over the stand, including the mounting nib, as it were, that goes inside the speeder. It's actually made it a bit more stiffer to get in. I mean, it is still quite wobbly, but it's not too bad. If you remember, like I said, with the blue tack, they're not quite positioned right, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, he's just got on the bike maybe. And if I just position that slightly, I press stop by accident. Like I said, my little Christmas tree for me support stand is hidden quite well actually. It's not too bad. So there it is, the Endor Diorama, all done. So this has took me, what, I think it was the end of June, so you got July, August, September, so it's took me almost 3 months to do this. You know, an hour here and there every day, in between waiting for stuff to dry, because that's the worst part about it. It's waiting for stuff to dry. But yeah, not looking too bad. I love the way the tree looks as well, you know, with all the grass tufts and the bit of moss that I put round the base of each branch. Definitely give that tutorial a go. I'll put the link in below. But yeah, I'm really loving this. Not bad at all. So with my rambling over, I want to thank you all for sticking with me for these past couple of months while I've done this. Hopefully I haven't bored you too much, and I'll put some stills on at the end of this, and I'll see you fairly soon with the next build. So thank you very much for watching.